How's it going, everybody? Today I want to talk about something that I haven't talked about at all, and something that isn't really that talked about in terms of fishing videos and stuff like that. There's a lot of tips out there and stuff, but nobody really tells you how to ship a rod or multiple rods, and that's what this video is going to be about, is shipping multiple rods. If you fish tournaments as a co-angler like I do, and you're traveling, you need to be able to ship your rods to different places, especially if you plan on flying, or even if you're just selling rods online and you want to ship them out. You probably all had a rod shipped to you, and you see that most of the time a rod company will tie to somewhere on the rod and kind of stabilize that rod in the tube. Well, when you ship multiple rods, it becomes a little bit more difficult to be able to get them all really stable. My favorite thing to do is to utilize these ends of the rods here, really heavy ends of whatever rods. Any rod's going to have it, whether it's a 2-power or a 6 or a 7-power swim bait rod. They're all going to have a heavy enough butt section that can really take impact. Well, you're going to do something to eliminate that impact, but it's also going to be a really good stopping force when you do ship your rods. All you're going to need is a tube, like you can see right here, just a regular old rod tube. If you don't have one, go down to a hardware store and cut a PVC tube that's just the right size. It's fairly light, similar to cardboard, and easy to ship, and then just something to kind of buffer the rods. What I really like to do is, if I'm shipping 2 rods or more rods, I'll take my 2 heaviest rods and I'll run them butt to tip, like you can see right here. I have 2 swim bait rods in this scenario. They're both about the same length, so all I'm going to do is wrap them. I want to make sure I wrap them where the tip's got some clearance on the end of the rod, and then just slap some tape on there. I cut a couple pieces before I started the video. It doesn't need to be super tight, just enough to hold the rod. You're going to follow that up the rod, so you could probably imagine, just to stabilize it, all the way down to the end, and you're going to repeat the same exact thing and just cover it up. Pretty simple way to ship rods. For some reason, people kind of overlook it and just throw them all in a tube. And when FedEx or UPS decides they want to put your rod in the tube and kind of throw it in the back of the truck, your tips are taking all the beating. This way, you have a butt on both ends. Your rods are stabilized. Wrap them up in some paper like this, and then throw them in your tube. All you're going to do is slide it in just like regular. I have customers come into my work all the time with the tackle shop, and they come in and ask how to ship rods and stuff. I send them right over to the hardware store across the street, tell them to get, like, you know, a 7.5 or 8 foot piece of PVC. If they're shipping multiple rods, run them end to end. It's a pretty simple concept, but for some reason a lot of people overlook it. Wrap it in something soft, shock absorbing, make sure it's tight with tape, and then put some of these on the end. Your rod tips will never take any beating. I've never had a rod break that way. The only way you're going to break a rod is if it gets run over. So it's not necessarily a tip for helping you out on the water, but nothing's going to help you more on the water than having some rods that aren't broken if you were in the case that they were going to break. So try it out if you're traveling, if you're shipping rods to a buddy, whatever it may be, selling them online. No better way to ship multiple rods, in my opinion. So stay tuned for next week. Headed down to Havasu tomorrow. Hopefully the fishing's good down there. Stay tuned, and maybe we'll have some new tips from you from Havasu. Thanks. Have a good one.